Play the Dates Level 1 is a great strategy game. At Level 1, there's no need to memorize dates, but you'll learn those as you go. The only cards you're going to need are your power cards and your silver timeline cards. The object of this game is to play 8 tricks, and whichever team wins the most tricks would win the game. If at the end each team has won the same number of tricks, the team that won the last one would win the game. A trick is when each team plays one timeline card from its hand, and the team that plays a year closest to the base year would win the trick. And I'll describe what the base year is a little bit later. So before you begin to play, you need to determine which deck of timeline cards you're going to use. In your box, you have 3 sets. So to determine that, you would take the power cards and turn over the top power card. In this top blue row, you'll see the dates, 1800s. So in this game, we'll be playing the timeline cards from the 1800s. Other options could have been the 1900s to 2000s, the 1400s to 1700s, and on some power cards it's blank. So if you turn over a blank power card, just keep turning over a power card until you get one that has a number in the middle. So we're going to be playing with the 1800s timeline cards. If you go into your box, you'll notice that you have silver and gold timeline cards that are from the 1800s. And the way you know that they're from the 1800s is all the dates down at the bottom are from the 1800s. So we're going to discard all of these gold timeline cards because we're not going to be using them in level 1. So we're only going to be using the silver timeline cards. And one hint might be that because of all of the timeline cards in your box, you may want to take them out and put rubber bands around them just to make it easier to pull out which deck you plan to use for each game. Next, we need to determine which team is the lead team for the first trick. The lead team for the first trick is generally the team that won the most recent game if you're playing in competition. If you're playing at home or in the classroom, or you're just beginning, you can use rock, paper, scissors or another method to determine which team would play the first card for the first trick. And then whichever team wins a trick during the game becomes the lead team for the next trick. Okay, so continuing to set up, you're going to deal each team 8 timeline cards. And you're going to deal each team 4 power cards. So each team is going to get 4 power cards and 8 timeline cards to begin the game. And the last bit of setup is you need to determine what the base year is. So the base year is the important part of how we play the game. So you turn over the next power card, and in this white row down at the bottom, we see the number 1840. Because we're playing with the 1800s, we're going to pick the date that is in the 1800s. So 1840 is going to be our base year. So as we play cards on these tricks, we're going to try to play cards that have dates closest to 1840 as possible. If we were playing with the 1900s to 2000 timelines deck, then we would be using a base year of 1940. So our base year is 1840. One other part about setup is that before you begin play, each team can discard one or all of its power cards and get replacement power cards, so they can turn them in and get different ones. The information that's going to be important for your power cards are these circled numbers. So 6, 1, 7, and 5. And I'll describe in the second part of the video why these numbers are valuable to you and when it might be valuable for you to exchange them or to keep them.